Greetings, good morning, and welcome to Mind the Moment. This, my friends, is our coffee house in the cloud, a place to come together, build community, get centered, and take a deep dive into the present moment. It is July 24th, 2020, which just so happens to be the birthday of Amelia Earhart, born in Kansas in 1897, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean in 1937. In her biography, Earhart is quoted as having said, "The more one does and sees and feels, the more one is able to do, and the more genuine may be one's appreciation of fundamental things like home and love and understanding companionship." A fitting mindful reminder, I believe, that in doing deeply, we powerfully dispose ourselves towards curiosity and courage, not to mention compassion, and that the rewards for training such tendencies within ourselves is not only to see them more easily maintained, but to watch them grow exponentially. I am John Roberts from Harvard Pilgrim Health Care's mindfulness program, and I am buzzing like the twin engines of a Lockheed Electra monoplane to be minding the moment this morning with Tara Healey, the founder and director of our program. Good morning to you, Tara.
Good morning.
Now, in just one moment, Tara will be leading us in a 10-minute guided meditation. Following that, we'll get into some Q&A together and then wrap things up just around 9 a.m. Now, if you haven't already done so, please take a moment to open up the chat box, which is accessible at the bottom of your screen. And please do use this chat box to type in any questions or comments that you might have. We'd love to know what's flying through your mind this morning. With that mentioned, Tara, is there anything that you would like to ask the folks at home to comment on as we're getting started?
Yeah, I was listening to the weather this morning, and I mean, it's been pretty hot and humid, but this weekend looks like it's going to be really beautiful. I mean, on the warm side, but just kind of nice. So I want to start by asking people to just share their weekend plans. What do you have? What do you have planned that might help you kind of restore and just feel good?
All right, so while folks are typing, a very large thanks to everyone for tuning in and taking the time to be with us this morning and each other. Regular viewers may have noticed that this is the first time that you've ever seen my ears, and I hope that you're not disappointed. Keep in mind, too, that only Tara and I will be able to see anything that you type, and if we don't read your particular question or comment on air, please be aware that we do read and appreciate them all. And that before we close, I will also point out some other ways that you can keep in touch with us. Okay, so here's what got a lot of things coming in. So someone is heading to Maine for their week-long vacation. Now that is a good length for a vacation, I think. Someone says they're meeting friends for lunch and a walk through the woods. I'm moving my first daughter into her new apartment. That's nice. Social distancing with grandchildren. Someone says they're in North Florida. It's rainy there, and it's she loves embracing the rainy days as well as the non-rainy ones. Someone says my daughter is coming home today for a visit. Looking forward to hugging her and catching up. Having a socially distant outdoor celebration of immediate family for my mom's 90th birthday. Congratulations to her. Someone says they're going to the mountains. Never a bad idea. All right, Tara. So with that, well, I should ask you, what are you doing this weekend to restore?
Yeah, I'm actually going to visit my parents, and a little bit later this morning, I'm going to go see my parents, and then I'm going to visit a friend later on, and then hopefully Sunday spend some time at an old friend's pool. So socially distanced, all of it, of course, but yeah.
These are very wholesome activities. I am. All right. Okay, so let me, Tara, let me turn it to you to take us away.
Yeah. Okay. So, wow, there's quite a few of you with us this morning, and I just want to also extend a welcome and thank you for joining. I really look forward to Friday morning to get my day started with all of you. So having said that, let's go ahead and settle into a meditative posture that feels easeful and comfortable for you. So if you're standing, that's completely fine. You want to have your feet about hip width apart and just allow the body to surrender into the support of the floor and of the earth. And seated, similarly, if you're seated, you want to be holding yourself in a position that's upright and engaged, yet relaxed. So I think with both postures, holding yourself in a way that's not too tight and not too loose. So finding that right balance. The eyes can be opened or closed. So if you adjust your eyes in a way that feels most comfortable, if they're open, that you want to gaze downward a bit. And just to remove peripheral distraction. And just surrender your weight into the support of the surface. Just become aware of the points of contact with the body and the surface. So all those touch points and that, just subtle feeling of connection. What does that feel like? And notice any pulsing or vibration in the body from the activity of your morning. So whether you've had a quiet morning or one that's more active, there's very often a subtle or not so subtle impact on the body at the level of sensation. So noticing the heartbeat and how the body is, what sensations the body is offering you. Could be temperature, so coolness or heat, tingling, vibration. Begin now to extend your sense of awareness from body sensation to sound, either in the room you're in or outside of the room. Just receiving. You can make a simple note, hearing. Gradually bringing awareness back inward to the body, just allowing sound to be in the background. And let's begin with a deep inhalation through the nose and then a little bit longer exhalation through the mouth. So at your own pace, go ahead and take that deep breath. One more time, a deep breath as a way to help us connect with breathing for the remainder of the practice. So deep inhalation through the nose, and then a bit longer exhalation through the mouth at your own pace. And then allowing the body to develop a rhythm, a natural rhythm of breath. However that is for you, it's perfect. So just breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the nose or the mouth. But go ahead and begin to bring the awareness to the sensations that in the body that are most prominent when you breathe. Allowing that place of prominence to serve as an anchor for the wandering mind. So remembering that we're not trying to stop or control thought. We're just seeing that each time we've engaged in thought, we can make a mental note of what it was, planning, or just a simple note thinking, and then returning awareness to the anchor, to the sensations of the breath, just over and over again. Noticing where the mind is, gently releasing thought and returning to breath sensation. And again, noticing where the mind is, releasing thought, whether memory or planning. Soften the body. Often with thought, the body contracts just a little bit, but it's not always seen. Soften the body. Just return to the breath. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may the benefit of our practice be for the benefit of everyone. When you feel ready, if your eyes were closed, you can open the eyes, and if they were open, we'll re-engage with each other.
Thank you for that, Tara. So for the folks watching, I want to make sure that everyone feels fully encouraged to ask Tara any questions you might have for her using the chat box. While you think,
Go ahead.
No,
well, just one thing that I actually wanted to mention because it's just worth, I'm not going to say anything that anyone doesn't know, but it's worth mentioning this almost every time, is that thinking is not a problem. So I just want to highlight that in this practice, thinking is almost like a sense, like, the eyes see, the ears hear, the mind thinks. And that it's more what we're doing is we're looking how we are relating to the thinking mind. So it's really much more about how are we relating to what's going on. And when we're practicing, what we're doing is just simply, when we've gone into a thought or a story, we don't have to condemn ourselves. I think that's just mainly my message is, we don't have to condemn ourselves for that. It's actually, this is the practice. So, we see. Sometimes it's helpful to label it like planning or remembering or regretting, so we can start to see our habit patterns more clearly and release and return. And every time we do that, we're actually getting some steadiness and stability of attention so that we can just in general see with greater clarity. So I just felt like I wanted to say that, in part because I had a very busy mind this morning. So I'm reminding myself, and hopefully it's helpful to some of you.
Well, Tara, so let me give that instruction a little poke and say, so what if something arises in the mind that actually like is a bad thought? Like,
Wait, is a bad thought?
It feels like something that, like, I shouldn't be thinking that. That is not
like an unwholesome thought or
Yeah, let's say
something,
that.
or just a bad, or yeah.
I mean, so like how can I just let that go? I mean,
Yeah, no, John, great question. It's like, the thing is, I think for all of us, we've been exposed to so much over our lifetimes, and that includes, everything, things we view on TV or listen to on the radio, or people we've been in contact with, or things that have happened throughout our lives. Those things are with us. And, it's not uncommon to have thoughts that are like, whoa, where did that come from? And the practice actually is not believing your thoughts, but to just see with a kind of receptivity and curiosity. That's really the lens of curiosity to this practice is really, really helpful. So just noticing, not condemning, so you're not leaning into it or pushing it away. You're literally seeing, you could even label it, unwholesome, or, just unwholesome. And then what does it feel physically? What's it like physically? So I would say practice like that with thoughts like that.
well, and so
It looks like there's a lot coming in too.
So this leads into something that this is all feeling very interconnected. So at the beginning of your meditation, you were talking about locating sensations in the body, right? Okay, so in one of the recent sessions here, we were talking about the idea that one might be able to reduce feelings of anxiety that arise by locating where the sensations of anxiety happen to be collecting in the body, which got me thinking, because when I feel anxious or stressed out, it can sometimes feel like I've been plunged into a swimming pool of agitation. And the idea of finding a specific sensation would be like asking, where is it wet? I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how to approach finding feelings of anxiety in the body when it feels like the whole body is involved in that agitation.
This is so important in this practice. So I just widen the lens, whole body awareness, right? So just widen the lens. Because I think sometimes we can get caught with trying to locate, like where, and it could be in multiple places. So you just expand that lens, and you don't have to have a spot. Like, it doesn't have to be shoulders, like, oh, it's just here, or belly, but just hold the sensation within the body where, the whole thing, you just widen the lens and keep it simple. So I think if you're leaning in too much or too hard, then, and you can see that, relax, just keep that lens wide. And the other thing too is that, of course, we wouldn't be doing this practice if we didn't want to have more of a sense of ease and skillfulness with how we relate to difficulties. even how we relate to good stuff, because generally when it's good, we don't want it to go away. But to really let go of feeling better and just engage in these practices and then see. So you're really always bringing curiosity and receptivity to whatever is happening, and then start to see, like, every thought, emotion, and body sensation has a birth, a life, and then it morphs. I mean, this is a universal law that you can trust, but that you can also test for yourself.
That's very good. So plug my computer in.
Yeah.
Realizing I don't want that to be what gets us this morning. All right. A few things are coming in here. So, all right. Question from the chat box. What if I think of something that I don't want to forget while meditating? Should I stop, write it down, and then go back, or otherwise, I guess would be the.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the Sharon Salzberg answer on this. So Sharon Salzberg is, if anybody on the call is not, she's a well-known meditation teacher. So I heard her say to that question, because again, that's a common experience. Like, oh, I don't want to lose this. I did hear her say at one time that if feels like it's really significant, you could have a pad and a paper and you can jot it down so you don't forget it. So that sort of stayed with me, because if Sharon says it, it feels like permission. What you have to be really careful of is it becoming a pattern, because things are going to arise that are interesting, that engage you in some way that you don't want to lose. But I would say they will come back. They will come back. So this would, you've got to really use some discriminating wisdom here. Like, this is worthy of capturing. So just be careful of not, getting pulled too much in that direction.
What I've said to myself sometimes is, because, I've had the exact experience where I'm like, okay, so I'll write it down if it's really important. And then I just find myself like thinking everything is important, right? I'm just going to write it down. Right. And then, eventually thinking to myself, if it's actually important, it's going to come back. If it's a really important
definitely thing, good point. And that has been my experience as well. Yeah.
So someone asks a really interesting question. I think we can get into a little bit of back and forth on this. So the person asks, as mindfulness has taken root, which I love that phrase, by the way, I find myself drinking less alcohol. Have both of you had similar experiences? So Tara, maybe I'll let you start there.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I mean, there are, in fact, a few things related to habits that I started to notice after I had been practicing for a while, that I started to watch less TV, definitely drink less alcohol. I mean, I still enjoy a cold beer or a glass of wine, but it's less, absolutely. So there's certain things that fell away without necessarily being even that conscious of it. Just my desire was less.
Yeah, I think we were talking with Judd Brewer earlier in this week, who does a lot of work on changing habit patterns. And in his smoking cessation program, he tells his participants, like, don't quit smoking per se, but start paying attention to the sensations of smoking and asking yourself, like, how does this really feel? Like, do I enjoy this? And then, as you're saying, then with that, lens of awareness, the desire to smoke starts to drop away, not right away. And that doesn't solve the physical addiction necessarily, but it does, take the, some of the mental and emotional elements away. Yeah. And so I think that can happen with drinking as well. So I actually enjoyed making cocktails as a hobby, right? But I really try to pay attention to, how does this taste and how is it making me feel as I'm doing it? So I'm not just like, mindlessly drinking.
There's probably lots that could be said about that, but I think the desire decreases a bit just naturally. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly not going to out anyone, but I think, you and I both know a lot of mindfulness people who, who drink with their meals, and a lot of
Yes.
mindfulness people who don't, who've just
Right,
chosen
that's right.
to treat
Yeah.
that as a kind of renunciation. That's as part of their practice. They're just not going to take part in that.
And I think it's just what is skillful and what is not skillful, and the practice of mindfulness and of awareness. It really ultimately helps us distinguish that. It helps us see more clearly, I'm going too far in this direction. And is it really all that good? Like, what's it real like, to Judd's point earlier in the week, really paying close attention to smoking and not quitting right away. Yeah, it's and this is, so many aspects of life, from being frustrated in traffic to, they don't have the flavor ice cream you want when you put your order in, like, the littlest and then the biggest things, like when, it puts a lens on it of clarity, really.
Well, I think that's actually, I never like to stop, but I always like to find a
Oh,
nice
I
place
know. I don't
and
want to stop either. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll be back with you every Tuesday and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So you can find links to these sessions and other resources at our main site at harvardpilgrim.org/mindfulness. If you have any questions for our experts, please send them to askmtm@harvardpilgrim.org. We'll get them answered, or feel free to leave me a voicemail at 617-509-7047. Now, you can find out the things that we've been up to on our Facebook page. That's at facebook.com/mindthemoment. And you can rewatch this session and older sessions and introductory sessions featuring Tara on our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/mindthemoment. So, a final word, if I could, just about the idea of finding some balance, because, we made reference to Joseph Goldstein's 2013 tome, Mindfulness, A Practical Guide to Awakening, last week. Yeah. There's a quote from that book that I like. I think it's worth sharing. It features a word which I love, which is the word ardor. And
I love that word too.
Has a nice mouthfeel to it, right?
Yeah, I love that.
So Joseph writes, ardent implies a balanced and sustained application of effort, but ardent also suggests warmth of feeling, a passionate and strong enthusiasm or devotion because we realize the value and importance of something. In mindfulness practice, then, the idea of behaving ardently is to urge ourselves to take great care with continuity and perseverance in what we do. Ardency is the wellspring of a courageous heart. So, Tara, I'd like to thank you for using your guidance this morning to help us loosen the latches on our own courageous hearts. I'm wondering if you might leave us with a resource that you think that people could find especially useful as they continue to.
Yes, I will. But I also just, hearing you say that, John, I would also say to everybody, kindness has been a word that has been just coming up for me a lot lately. And so I would say to everybody to be kind to yourself this weekend. And I'm going to leave you with Mary Oliver, Why I Wake Early. So this is one of my favorite books of poetry by the wonderful late great Mary Oliver.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot, Tara, but is there a particular poem in there that you like especially? Because I will post it to the Facebook page.
You know what, John? Let me take a minute to. There's so many, but I'll pick one and then you can post that. I'll email you or text. Fantastic. Yeah.
And just like kindness, earlier in the week you mentioned to me that I think it's Shinzen Young who uses the term kindfulness as a.
Ajahn Brahm. Ajahn Brahm. Yeah. Kindfulness. I know, kind of interesting, right? Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you, Tara. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you soon. Have a momentous day and weekend.